Welcome back. We could all use with a little extra comfort right now, maybe in the way of a warm and cozy meal full of flavor and spices. Well, joining us now with innovative recipes featuring mood-boosting ingredients is better food advocate Puneeta Chitwal Varma. Welcome, Puneeta.
Hi Jess, hi Lainey, so nice to see you.
Before we get into these delicious looking dishes that you've prepared for us, can you tell us what a better food advocate is?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked me that. I grew up in a culture that's immersed in food, and not just the flavor of it, but also how traditional Indian wisdom advises on what pairs well together, what kind of foods go well together, and how food can often be a natural remedy, your first stop when you have those, the scratchy throat and the aches, and natural remedies. The food is often considered a natural remedy in India. Food is about more than just its impact on our body and our physical health. Food is also our choices on our plate impact our mental well-being. There's so much science and research that connects food and mood. And then there's even a step further where our choices actually impact the prosperity of our community and the planet. And so that's how Better Food Advocate came to be, really.
So before we begin and looking at some of the recipes that you are walking us through, what is your advice to those people out there who want to adopt better food practices in the kitchen and want to incorporate mood boosting ingredients into more of their meals?
So my suggestion here would be to think of food as more than a sum total of its parts. It's more than the little slices of the vitamins and the minerals and the carbs. It's think of it as a whole, and that's where the mood boosting also comes in. There is a lot of research around food and mood now that part of it is being led by Dr. Felice Jacka from the Food and Mood Center in Australia, where she talks about the deep connection between what we eat and how it impacts how we think, how we feel, and our health overall. Not just our physical health, but also our mental well-being.
Well, let's get started then. Let's get eating. We are going to begin with a super simple yogurt sesame dressing. Looks so good. Tell us about it and how it can improve our mood.
So this is a yogurt and sesame dressing. It's a simple mixture of tahini paste, yogurt, cumin seeds. I've added a little bit of basil in here and some sweetness with sugar. And you can, it's easy enough. I love that your way through, because this is one of our favorite dressings.
It is. It's a dressing, but it can also be a dip, right? Like, and if you do make it a dip, what do you have to do differently?
Totally, as in its current form, you see that it's more viscous and it's perfect as a dip. You could dip your veggies in it, or you could make it a little bit more liquidy. I know that's not a word, but you could totally make it more liquidy and use it as a dressing. And that works in so many ways, right? Food is forgiving. If we tweak it a little bit based on our family's preferences and cook it how our palate is comfortable with, we will eat it and we will enjoy it ever so much more. And this dip itself, it's fermented foods. It's got yogurt in it. That's the star. And the sesame seeds. Those are the other two great mood boosting foods, fermented foods and nuts and seeds. And so sesame seed is great for that. So the combination, excellent for us and excellent for the way we feel.
This smells delicious, and I want to know if it can go on our next dish, which is an oven-baked aloo gobi. But first of all, tell us what the mood-boosting ingredients are in this lovely little guy.
What you have here, and aloo gobi is pretty much the star, is all good mood food. So the cauliflower, as an example, is great. It has prebiotic in it, it's a fancy word for food for a bacteria. And the sweet potatoes as well, they're so rich in fiber. And I find I tend to eat more regular potatoes, and switching out the sweet potatoes for the white potatoes, it adds a lot of fiber to this dish that is such a traditional classic.
I'm already in a good mood. I'm in a great mood. This tastes amazing. So also you have a white bean chili that you have sent to us. I can't wait to dig into this. So tell us about this white bean chili.
So one of the elements of my formula is diversity in our diet. And what that basically means is that in chili, we're used to the red tomato based and the red kidney beans and
Yeah.
brown meat, right? And so with the white bean chili, we're switching that out with some white beans. So that's different. Diversity of food on our plate, like in life, right? That's my diversity joke right there. But diversity on our plate, thank you. Thank you for laughing at that. But diversity on our plate is great for supporting our gut health and to grow the living organisms that are in our belly that we need to actually flourish in our belly. So that's why if we switch things up, so in this case, the white bean chili, I have ground turkey, which is different, of course, from beef. I've got white beans. And I've also added snow pea leaves. So what you're eating is the vegetables I had in my fridge. So add whatever vegetables you have. I often add carrots or peas. This time we had snow pea leaves, which goes so beautifully well together.
This is so good. And I love snow pea. And I've only had it Chinese style. Haven't had it in chili before. And the texture is amazing. But I'm also amazed to find out that you use orange juice in here?
So I like a little bit of sweetness and tanginess in my chili, and that's one of the things I like about the red tomato-based chili. But because we're not adding tomatoes in here, I often add sweet apple cider. I have that in the fridge. And sweet apple cider is one of those wonderful ingredients that are fermented that you can buy in the supermarket easily enough. And it uses apples that are often thrown away because they're not pretty enough to be in the grocery stores, right? It's often the bruised, mushy apples that get used in the sweet apple cider. And so I add that in here. But if you don't have sweet apple cider, add some orange juice and a little bit of regular vinegar. And that adds the fermented good.
We have one more dish, barley pulao, which you had referenced earlier. Tell us about this. And for those of us who aren't familiar with what pulao is, can you explain?
So pulao is traditionally made with basmati rice. It's a South Asian classic, and it's a mixture of vegetables, carrots, potatoes, and it's made with basmati. And I find in my diet and of all the people around me that white rice is a good grain. It's a good staple grain. It stays well in the pantry, and it's a good thing to have in the diet. But I often have a lot of it. So going back to, having diversity on the plate, if we've been eating a lot of white rice or some other, wheat is another grain that we have a lot of. Barley is a great thing to switch out. And it works, it cooks in a similar way to rice, and the texture is a little bit chewy.
I was just going to say, Puneeta, I always forget how much I love barley. I don't use it enough at home, but I love the texture so much. It's delicious.
It totally is. And it's surprisingly tasty because I think barley is one of those foods that have this bad rep that it's a health food or it's a food that, our grandparents used to eat. But in India and here, this is Canadian grown barley, and it's wonderful to be able to find a whole grain that you can buy and support local farmers. And it's a great food to add to a menu plan.
You have been so delightful, and you have treated us to so many great flavors that have also improved our mood. I mean, I can vouch for the fact that Jess and I are in great spirits right now. So thank you so much, Puneet, for joining us. And for more information on all of these mood-boosting foods and recipes, check our social media channels after the show. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.